From a little cover, I got my dreams inside. Wrestling on the mat, I go and put up a fight. With every hold and slam, I rise to the peak. Now as Professor Bear, it's my strength that they see. Roaring with knowledge like a lion so proud. In this wrestling world, I'm standing out loud. I'm Professor Bear, got the passion to spare. Wrestling's my life, with the power to share. From the roots to ropes, in the spotlight we gleam. Chasing victory dreams, living out the theme. Now my WOSN, my squad.
Yeah. Hey, new beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul.
With my voice, crew will always rise. In the wrestling world, one just claim the prize.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me this evening. I am Professor Bear, and this is A Bear's Thoughts. And first and foremost, this is my first time doing this live on Instagram. So if it screwed up, it's not my fault. I'm just a bear. I can only do so much. But thank you for joining me. If you're joining me, if you're not, you will. I'm just that lovely of a person. So with that being said, we have been doing a lot of great interviews, finding out about promotions all around the world. And me and this particular gentleman, we go a little ways back. He's been on my show 2 times now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he is really connected in the wrestling business, and he does a lot for a lot of promotions. So he is a great gentleman to get a lot of knowledge and backstage things about a lot of promotions. So as always, I'm always glad to have him on, my friend Phil Staple. Phil, how are you doing today, sir?
I am well. How are you?
Man, I can't complain. I noticed that you were kind of bopping your head to the music a little bit.
I was just about to say that's some pretty good music. Like I'm just sitting here just bopping along.
Yeah, and it's funny. When I first started the other appreciation of podcaster, I thought to myself, man, I want to make it a little different. So if people follow me, they'll know. If you hear certain music, you know it's different tone about it. So I caught it like the first day I started doing it. So I made a different theme up and everything. Then when we were about to go into this, I was like, yeah, I might as well keep that up. I'm gonna go with another whole different song. And now my problem is I like both of them, and I don't know which one I'm gonna keep for my regular show. So
Fair. Rotate. 1 week it's that, the other.
Right, I might do that too, because that's easier. Because both of them, or all 3 of them, I think are catchy. So I don't know. So
Or one's the intro, one's the outro.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's why you are you're the man in wrestling, because you have those quick. It just like comes off the top of your dome. You don't even really even think about it.
troubleshooting. That's what I excel at.
Hey, nothing is wrong with that, my friend. So, I I know we've talked about it before, but for the fans who didn't see those two interviews, and first thing, shame on you. But can you tell the fans how you became a wrestling fan, real quick?
I was a kid. I had a neighbor who was into wrestling, and so that sort of got me into it. Another kid, and yeah, I just started to become a fan. Enjoyed watching it, and it was at a time when like ESPN Classic was showing like old World Class Championship Wrestling and Global and USWA. So I was watching the current product and then also the product from 20 years prior.
And what's so funny about that, and I don't have a problem admitting it, that I'm old because I watched it when it was live. So
Even better, you got that experience.
oh yeah, and it's amazing when you're watching stuff and people stick out to you, and you see them somewhere else. It's like, wait a minute, you were over here. What?
Mhm.
So, with that, how did you translate from just being a wrestling fan to getting into the business?
Well, I knew it was something I wanted to do. I was that kid that wrote to the WWE and WCW and Global at the time, and was like, "Hey, kids should wrestle. Why can't kids be on professional wrestling on television?" And so WCW actually wrote me back. I got two responses from them. That was like, "Hey, you typically have to be 18. You have to go get trained. Buy our book on professional wrestling training schools," which I did not buy, which I sort of wish I had. And so I kind of knew very early, okay, you have to go to training for this. And when I was getting ready to graduate high school, I kind of had that decision of, do I go to college? Do I go to wrestling? And I was like, well, I'll go to college because I'm going to need a plan B. And I had started to work backstage for a couple of promotions. And then while I was at college, I got misdiagnosed, I should say, with a precancerous condition. So thank goodness I didn't have it, but they thought I did. And in my brain, I was like, well, it's now or never. I got to go train for wrestling. And so I jumped into training and made it work. I was going to college. Then got into medical treatment for the other stuff that was actually wrong with me, and doing training all at the same time. And yeah, just kind of rode the wave from there.
You and it's funny, but that could have been God's plan to have you misdiagnosed to make you do it then, because who knows if you would have ever done it after college, even though you really wanted to and you had a passion to do it, life could have took you a whole different route.
Mhm. That's extremely true. Now I will say, once I went through my initial training, I realized, wow, my trainer was not great. And I had to go out to some other places and like learn a whole lot more, do a whole lot of seminars, and like certainly, on the road as a young wrestler, you learn a lot more too from your peers. And so like you just keep learning. You have to keep learning.
And it's funny that you said that like that, because I had talked to a gentleman earlier, and we were talking, and he was one of his Greg Anthony, by the way, had to give him a shout out. He was saying that he, in his facility, it's a 2-year commitment. He said, I can train you in a year, but I want to give you nuances that I believe a lot of places won't give. And a lot of there's always good and bad, and there are some bad ones that say, oh, we can get you done in 3 months, and there's no real safe way of training someone. There is so much more to go into. So I love hearing him say that, because as we know, everyone is not a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that's why I loved hearing you say that.
So Les Thatcher, who was the ran Heartland Wrestling Association, was a trainer during its time when it was developmental for both WWE and then WCW. He talks about, you can go to the greatest school, but if you're a potato, you're a potato. And sometimes you can't make a potato into a roast. And that's okay. That's okay. Like, okay, how else can we shift you? And there are some people who, oh my gosh, do they latch on so great and so quick? And there are other people who just don't, or it takes them a little while.
Right.
I've seen amazing wrestlers be poor trainers. I've seen great wrestling technique from people who don't know how to cut a promo, or who know how to talk about promotion, or know to talk about the business side of wrestling. Like, how do I literally get from point A to point B? So it's a mix. It takes a little bit of both. It takes a little bit of a good, competent trainer with a good, competent training plan, and yourself and your willingness to learn. And some people are going to get it faster, some people aren't, and that's okay.
Yeah. And it's the business, and not in just wrestling, in life, it's the same thing. So after getting the training and stuff, how did you dive more in the behind the scenes aspect of the business?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
How did you dive more into the back scene of the business?
I really just reached out. There were two different promotions. I'm probably going to mess up the letters. Cue Ball Carmichael ran a promotion called IPWA in Northern Virginia. And then there was another company that ran out of Penn State called A Different Wrestling Federation. And I just reached out to them. I was like, hey, I'm interested. I want to learn more. At that time, because that was sort of in that period of like, do I go to college? Do I go to wrestling? What do I do? I also wasn't sure if the wrestling business was for me. I'm at that time, day and age, I mean, I'm 5'7", and I was the smallest person in every locker room I went to, every single one, until I think I met AJ Styles, and then and that's not a knock, but I just always was, and so I knew that, okay, this is going to be a transition, and this wasn't, in my lifetime as a kid. There was, all this steroid trial stuff, and that drugs were so permeating in the wrestling industry. And I was like, I don't want to be near that. Is that really what it's like? And experiencing that, I was like, if I saw somebody drink after a match in a corner somewhere, like, okay, it's not everywhere. It's not proliferating. It's okay. It's that person having a beer after a match, like way after a match in a corner. Okay, this is going to be fine. And so, but really, I just reached out. I expressed my interest. I remember with Cue Ball, like, I sat down with him, and he's like, why are you here? What are you thinking? What are you talking about? And I told him, I'm very interested in getting trained. I don't really have the money at the time. I want to learn the business. I want to learn if this is a place for me. And he gave it to me. He didn't shy away from stuff. I feel like day one, I was helping with the ring. I did security. I ran music. I think even I might be blending places, but I think I did music and ring announcing from where I was doing music. Like, it just was what it was. And I learned a lot about just how the business works.
And what I love about that is your willingness just to show your passion for the love of the sport. And you were willing to do anything. I think a lot of people have that same attitude. It's like, however I have to get in here, I'm willing to do to show you how dedicated I am.
Yeah.
And it shows not only your passion, but your willingness to learn. And that's very important in the business. So you're doing this and you're getting more familiar and stuff. Where do you go from there as far as, you're starting to get it now. You're starting to make a name for yourself.
Back then, you mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that I would say that was the one fortunate thing. Then when I decided, okay, I'm gonna go get trained. Well, two things. One, I had no expectation that any of the experience I had was going to carry over into then training, because the trainer I found wasn't in either of those places. And I was like, okay, and I didn't think, and again, didn't think anything of it at the time. But I could speak to it. And I was in college at the time, and he knew that. So there was sort of then like, okay, you're well-rounded, you know things. But I was there to learn. I wasn't there to be like, well, I already know some of this. You know, it wasn't, because I was like, I'm still new. I still need to learn, and learn a lot. And so that was how I approached it. I have seen people at other places who have not had good experiences trying to snake their way in and talk a big game, and it's like, you don't have this, buddy.
So now you've trained, you're as I'm gonna say, you're wrestling certified.
Mm-hmm.
And you ready to go. So take me down that path then.
Sure. So the company, or the school I was at, had a company, and so started with them and had a few matches there and with them. But because of my time in wrestling, I had already made a couple connections to other people in the industry and other places, and so I had reached out to. I'm blending a little bit because I think I physically moved to a different location, and it just so happened that the home promotion I got trained at had closed. So it wasn't. So even when I moved, there wasn't another place to go back to. So then it was like, let me find another place to work out. Let me find another group of people, which I did. And then connected up to a promotion up in New England that was just sort of starting out, called Sunfire Promotions, and got an opportunity to wrestle a friend of mine who doesn't wrestle any longer, but his name was Chris Venom. And wrestling him, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much I need to learn. And I knew it like right away. It was like I could feel it. Fortunately by that point, between amateur wrestling and judo, I knew enough about the physical body and how it moves, and I was like, something doesn't feel right. and he was very patient with me, both during the match and then afterwards, and was very honest with his feedback, and I took it. I was appreciative of the fact, especially now, like I can look back and be like, he was probably more kind than he really needed to be. But at the same time, I was also very acknowledging of it. I was like, okay, I see it. Like, I know I need to learn more now.
So with that, you traveling, you're learning, you're getting more developed as a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
When did the point of, I'm thinking about taking what I'm learning and going a different route with it?
Yesterday? I think that's a constant motion. I think it's like you get experience, you learn and you apply it, and then you reevaluate to like, was that what I needed and wanted? You learn a little bit more, you reapply, you reinvestigate, was that right, correct, what I wanted? And it's the cycle. It's going to be a constant cycle. I can do this better. What did I do wrong? This is how I improve. Okay, now try it again. So I feel like constantly, like just always in that motion of, okay, I can be better. I can do more. I can do better. I can be better. And it has always shocked me. Because not every promoter, but there are certain promoters that are like, well, I saw you like this. I saw you as a face. I saw you as a heel. I heard you cut a promo, or I heard you do commentary, and they lock you in this. They like, I see you as this, and it's like, I can do other things and more things too. Just give me the opportunity. I mean, had I cut some promos in my early career, honestly, maybe. I don't even remember a solid Oh no, that's not true. I do remember some pretty bad promos. Now I think about it. But it was a while before like I really had a company that sort of gave me the faith of, yeah, cut promos. Like we want you to. That helped me even more in the ring. It actually gave me a little boost of confidence. I felt stronger in my public speaking. I tell this story a lot. I shared it with some people in a locker room this past weekend. Was at a promotion, still runs, called AIWF Mid Atlantic in North Carolina, and they were the place that really let me run with promos. And I just happened to, we're about to start the event. I just happened to be near the entrance curtain, and the promoter sees me and goes, "Phil, I need you to go out there and cut me a promo." I'm like, "When? Right now." "Okay, on what? Like, how long do you want me to go?" He's like, "I don't care. You need to go like 10, 12 minutes. The main event's not here yet. I just need you to kill time." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Hits my music. I'm like, okay. I'm on my way out to the ring, and they had this weird, at the time, odd way to walk out to the ring. And so like I'm walking, I get up to like a wall. I'm like, I see a broom. I grab the broom. There's this trainee that I had been working with when I would go to shows, and I'm like, "Hey, get ready for when I call your name." I go to the ring. I start healing out the crowd. Thank goodness I was bad guy. It makes it a little easier sometimes when you're a bad guy.
Right.
And I start talking about how I'm so disrespected that this ring is not ready for me to be in, and that they did not clean this ring for me before I got here. So I called the trainee to the ring and made him sweep the ring in front of me. And I am just solidly berating him the entire time. And again, I had no time to think of what I was going to say. I didn't, other than just saying, "Hey, pay attention." I really didn't say like anything else about what we were going to do. And so I got him so mad. And I'm the kind of, when I'm a heel, I'm not saying like derogatory things. I'm just mean. I'm just like, I'm in that kind of like, I'm better than you way. I'm super intelligent, you're not, kind of. And so I just kept dogging. And he got so mad and picked up that broom and just shoved it in my chest and stormed out of the ring and was like, he was so red-faced. And in my brain, I'm like, and I was like, I got him. And that was one of the first moments I was like, I really got somebody like in the business, in the promo. And I got to the back, and he's like, "I am a dummy. I did not realize what you were doing. I am so sorry." I was like, "No, that was great. The reaction was genuine. The crowd ate it. Like, you did. It was perfect. Like, it was great." The promoter was happy. I mean, again, this is a trainee who hadn't even had his first match yet. We went into a program because of that promo.
Oh wow.
And it was tremendous. It was such good fun. Yeah. And so sometimes it's like, you got to know, I can grow. I can do this more. I can be better. And that's sort of like when I look at wrestling now and I watch other people wrestle and what they're doing, I feel like I look more favorably upon the people that I'm like, they're not perfect, but I see where they have room to grow. I see the potential that they have. And I'm more interested in that guy than the guy that's going to hit the 5 moves of doom. This is not me making fun of anybody that does that. Like, hey, that's great. Like, we all know what to expect. You have a brand that we identify with. But I always love seeing the people who like can constantly grow more and who will pull out new things the next time I see them. I remember the very first time I met Trey Miguel, I was like, wow, he's really cool. Like, I really like his stuff. And I saw him 6 months later, and I was like, wow, he's gotten so much better. I really like his stuff. And every time I saw him, like, wow, I see something new and different. And even today, I saw him last Thursday. I was like, I see you do new stuff every single time I see you. And that makes me more interested in watching somebody like that. I want to see somebody who can continue to grow. There's plenty of talent who I know who've sort of fizzled, like, I don't even want to say this person's name, but I remember there was a wrestler that would be like, "Oh, I'm working so-and-so. It's going to be an easy night." Okay, I'm not even interested in your match now. Like, why am I? Why? If you're not engaged and interested, why would I be? Why would anybody in this crowd be?
That's very true. Because you're, and for me being a fan, I want to be sold on something. I've seen so many different ways of wrestling, styles and stuff. I want something to the point it's original, something maybe I hadn't seen, or if I've seen it, it's been so long ago that you can put a fresh spin on it. That again, that's what I think wrestling is about, to capture emotions from your audience.
I agree.
And that's what I like. And like you said, sometimes you can see someone that you think has plateaued, and then all of a sudden they bring something out that you hadn't seen. It's like, wow, where in the hell has that been at? Oh man, you would have been leveling up big time if you would have did this earlier.
Yeah.
So I definitely get what you're saying. So now you're still trying to grow. And that's a great attitude to have, that you're not at the top. There's always things to learn and grow. I love that attitude. So give me some of the backstage elements that you do to help promotions.
So for a lot of places, what I'd started to do was like social media marketing. And I mean, in the age of MySpace, I was doing marketing for promotions. And so that translated really easily to like Facebook and how you market. Now I'm at a point of like, I've dove so deep on the different platforms and how the algorithms work and when is the better times to post, what kind of content is better for which platform, even what platforms block certain kinds of posts, which also seem counterintuitive that any social media platform should block a posting that isn't
right.
Nothing offensive, but like Instagram hates text on graphics. So like if you were to post a flyer, match flyers have like, it's this person versus this person on this date, this time, this location, all this stuff. Instagram hates it and will drive down the algorithm. Now, yeah, there's some promotions that get still good coverage, gets good likes because they have a lot of traffic. They have attention to their product. So they're still going to get some out of it. But honestly, it doesn't drive it as hard as like, here's an action shot. Here's a candid behind the scenes. Here's a video of something. Instagram thrives a little bit more on here's life, here's motion, and not so much on the written text. And so that, you have to learn to adjust a little bit in how to populate and get things out differently on the different platforms. And then like, how do you work with media and press is different. How you work with the wrestling press is different than how you work with mainstream media press. And I mean like your local paper, your local television and radio, and how you connect to them. And so that started to be how I was working behind the scenes for a lot of places. And then sort of over time, that also developed to the fact of like, I am also an active wrestler. I am also doing these other things. And so I started to, I remember I was working for CZW and I had people who were coming to me going like, can you give me feedback on my match? And I'm like, what? Why are you coming to me? I don't know. I don't understand. And I was like, oh, I guess I've been around wrestling now for a while. Okay, sure. And so like I get that a lot now. I'm like, okay, here's what I see. And so, giving that kind of feedback. And I also have to give disclaimers now when I give my feedback. I'm like, listen, I'm very top of mind. I will give you feedback as I see it. I'll watch a match. I'll write down notes as I see it. I'll put timestamps on the things I see and know it's from my perspective. It's not me being harsh. I might be critical at times, but it's only to give critical feedback, because
Right.
if you're not, if I'm sugarcoating it or being really soft with it, you're not going to take away what you need to change and grow. And that's not going to help you. And so, and I'll be frustrated at myself that I wasn't open and candid and honest. And so just to be clear about it, for the most part, that works. I've had one person who gave me a match. I said that before I gave any feedback. And then he was like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't get feedback. I was like, that's okay. I had one person I said that to. He said, okay. I gave my feedback. He's like, why do you hate me as a person? I was like, I don't hate you at all. Like, what are you talking about? Like when you said you were harsh, and I was like, but I didn't say anything about you as a person. Like, I was like, and this was all about you getting better. Like, what are you talking about? You hate me, man. Like,
It's so funny when I feel like I've had people ask me my opinion, and the first thing in my head, I always say, why the hell are you asking me? I'm not in the business. I'm just a fan. But then I realized, like, oh, okay, you value my opinion. So I wouldn't be doing either one of us any good if I lied to you. So I definitely understand where you're coming from there.
But I've also, I've had the opportunity to work with production stuff. I help with different training classes. And because of sort of the feedback and like just other experiences I've had, I've done acting work, for example. Drew Gulak helped me put together a class. So I was already doing one on like how to do promos, on how to bring submission wrestling into pro wrestling. Drew Gulak termed this phrase performance threading. How do you put your personality and continue it through your entrance, through your promos, through your entrance, and through your match? And it was like, oh, I never really like laid it out in that way in trying to instruct somebody. And so it was like, he helped me to see that pathway a bit.
Right.
And so again, I try to use it, and I try to be very clear. This is from my perspective. Somebody else might have an entirely different take from their experience.
So with doing this and having all these different experiences, and you're being able to use what you've been taught, what you've learned, and and this term, I know you understand, you're making the business better than you found it. Is it and it's going to be kind of silly when I ask, but do you enjoy this? Because like, as you know, some people do things and they're really helpful, but don't enjoy that aspect of it. They do it because they feel like they have to versus they want to. And you are froze, my friend. That was one hell of a question, people. I made them freeze up on us. But hey, it happens. He'll be back in just a minute, and we'll get right back to it. Yes. So the one thing that I'm definitely taking from this conversation is that you have to be fluid like water. And I took that from a Bruce Lee saying. There you go, my friend.
I am so sorry. I don't.
The first thing I said, I was like, I told my audience, I was like, man, I freaked him out so bad he doesn't even want to move anymore.
I don't even know.
It happens.
You're like, okay, this is great, and like mid sentence, all of a sudden, screen goes black. Like this little error content. I can't send something error 0% and loading. I'm like, what happened? Sorry about that.
So, where you froze at is when I asked the question. I don't know if you heard the whole entire thing or not. And again, maybe I need to stay away from this question. That's what I'm starting to realize.
What is happening? Like, this time you froze, and then there was 2 circles. I'm like, what's?
So I just said.
Look,
maybe I need to stay the hell away from this question.
Okay.
But hey, this is what happens when you go live.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Now I can't remember your question.
Okay.
I'm putting my hands in the air so everyone can see. I'm not trying to play with anything or do anything.
So the question was, do you enjoy doing these different things versus feeling like you have to do them?
It is very mixed. I enjoy being in front of a camera. That does not mean to be a glory hog. Like I don't want to be the only person in front of the camera 10,000 times. But like, I don't want to be behind the scenes and not doing anything or just twiddling my thumbs. Like I said, my first job in wrestling was like running the sound and music. And so like the times I occasionally will do that on the random, like, I'm like, this is not the job I have. Like, you don't keep me here. I on a Wrestling Revolver event in New Jersey back in December, we needed a ring announcer. So it was like, well, I'm going to do it. And so did the ring announcing and got great feedback, which was good. I appreciated it. And I looked at Sam Callahan and I was like, and you are not keeping me on ring announcing. It's not happening. He's like, what? I was trying to give you a compliment. Like, I appreciate that. And I'm accepting the compliment. Don't keep me there. So there's times. I wax and wane. If I'm being 100% honest with things, I have a little bout of depression going on, and maybe it's seasonal. Maybe it's also because I'm sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night if I'm lucky, and things get stressful at times, and so it's like, man, I'm a little worn out. But if I don't have something to do with like wrestling, man, I'm so stir crazy. Like I need to be doing something. So it's like I yearn for it, but that's just it. I need to be doing something. There was a run of events I was going to, and I'm like, am I just your lucky rabbit's foot? Like, I feel like I'm here just to physically have a presence here, but I'm not doing anything. Give me something. And sometimes like I had to verbalize it because in one case the place didn't see it that way. They thought, well, you're here. We know we can rely on you. We can trust you. We just didn't use you.
Right.
Like, and I was still getting paid, which, hey, that's the bonus point. And I was like, yeah, but I could have, if you didn't need me, that's fine. Just tell me. I could have gone over here, this other place. And it's not a knock on you. It's just, okay, you didn't need me. That's fine. Let's have that conversation. And it was, oh my gosh, no, we want you, we need you. Okay, great. And so sometimes it does take a conversation to make sure things move forward.
I find it so funny that a lot of what you're saying and verbalizing, sometimes I feel like myself, and even that I always tell myself, I am not a part of the show. I am not a wrestler. I'm not a producer. I'm not anything. But sometimes I go to shows and think, man, I'm here. I can see you need this help. I would love to help you. I'm not honestly asking for money. I just want to feel like I'm giving to the business what the business gave to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, sometimes you have to have conversations with people to let them know how you're feeling. And one promotion that I go to a lot, I told them that, and the owner just flat out told me, he's like, man, anything you want to do. We have that much faith in you and respect you that much. And I was like, okay, that's cool, and I appreciate it, but I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of you, or I hadn't earned this position.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like I have never been into a locker room ever. I don't feel like I've earned that. I don't want it. To me, it's something that is earned. When I want to talk to guys or plan interviews, I wait outside. I never go back, even if someone would probably say, come on back. Until I earn that, I won't do that. And again, it's that level for me, because it's like, I've been told by so many people, you are part of the business, but it's still in my mind, I hadn't earned the right.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to fight with myself all the time, like, stop over analyzing things, and just, if they want you to do it, do it.
Yeah. Which is fun. Young Phil in wrestling. Maybe been around, I don't know, maybe 2 years. And I remember I was working for this one company, and it was like, this is weird. Everybody's bringing their wife, their girlfriend, their kids back in this locker room. This is uncomfortable. Like, people are changing, people are doing whatever. Like, I would go into the bathroom, and then I would get why you go to the bathroom? Change, man. You get the locker room. Anybody see it? It's like, there's a kid. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no. I don't know who some of these people are. They weren't a part of the event. I don't know if they're with who, if they're a fan. Like, no.
Right. So, with doing everything you do, and you're helping out, let's talk about some of the promotions you help out at.
Mm-hmm.
That how do I put this in? Well, let's just talk about the promotions that you help out, if you don't mind naming a few of them.
Sure. Well, currently I work with Wrestling Revolver. So they run all over, primarily Ohio and Iowa. But we run events in Texas, in New Jersey, Indiana. So we're a little bit all over. MCW, which is out of Maryland, MCW Pro Wrestling. They're what I call like a legacy company. They've been around for, oh my gosh, 30 years, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I actually did some research on that and was shocked on how long they've been around.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's Lita came through there. Leo Rush came through there. So there's been names from the past, and more recently, Action Andretti came from there. So there's like this long legacied history of wrestlers that have come through MCW. MCW is like super family friendly. So it's like a different slant. Wrestling Revolver is a little bit more aggressive. It's a little bit more working for the current generation of fans. It's a little bit of a different vibe. And I've had a lot to do with setting up what that vibe is, and how the feel of the company is. I've also regularly worked with Real Shoot Wrestling in West Virginia, Honorary Wrestling Federation up in Pennsylvania, and then a whole bunch of sporadic other shows that I know I'm forgetting. Pro Wrestling Unplugged, which is back in its second iteration up in New Jersey. And so everybody has like a different flavor or different audience. Some of that is because of a purposeful direction. Some of that just happens to be by geographic happenstance. Like I think PW in that way, like it's good wrestling that's backed up with an area that is supportive of, oh, look, we have wrestling right around the corner. Let's go to wrestling. MCW has been a benefactor of that, but also because their product focuses towards the whole family experience, not just kids, not just the adults, but a whole family can come and enjoy it. And so like, depending on where, I have no idea, something fell. I don't know what it was. What the heck is happening tonight?
I'm starting to get scared. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. Ghost in the machine or something over here. Let me not say that too loud. Lord. But yeah, each company takes on a different little bit of a different kind of flavor, depending on how they market and how they reach out. And so like, as a company, there's a lot of young companies that are out there like, we just want to wrestle. We just want to put out the thing. Okay, that's great. And then what? Like build your market. Well, but you have to understand like who is your market, who is actually coming. Do you want to build it off of that? Do you want to target a specific direction and build it off of that? Like I see some promotions that are like, we're super family friendly, here's a death match, and it's like I get it, like, oh, like we talked about WC World Class Championship Wrestling and Global,
right?
They built 2 matches, like they didn't go like, and this next match is a Pains of Death exploding barbed wire death match. It was like, oh, there's a feud, and this whole feud is paying off in this bull rope match, and if that's not the finish, then they're going to a steel cage. Like it would escalate, and it took a little bit of time to get there.
Right.
And so like I think there's still a place for that, even in family wrestling, like
oh yeah,
friendly wrestling. Like there's a place if you're telling that right story to that right audience, they get it, they're hooked, they're following along. If you give an easily understood story, if that's your market and that's what they enjoy, I think even within like an MCW, our home is in Joppa, which is just north of Baltimore. It's in a community called Joppa Town, and there's a neighborhood literally across the street. And so we have a lot of those families coming in, but they're still a little bit more interested in the athletic action. Like they want the emotional tie-in, they want the story, but they do like a little bit of the extra work you put in. The same company works in the southern end of Maryland, Hollywood, Maryland, which is 30 minutes from me. And man, that audience wants a story. They want a reason to be hooked on what they're watching. And if you give them a tease, like you give them a reason for why they should boo or cheer you, they will boo or cheer you. Like they are all in on whatever you feed them. They just need to be fed.
So my platform, when I came up with this ideal of doing appreciation, my first thought was it's gonna be US based. It's got to be US. I can reach out. Well, then I had a moment where I was trying to do 3 things at once, and I'm on Facebook, and okay, you're a wrestling company. Okay, I'm gonna send you a letter. Bam. Well, I was not paying attention because I was doing 3 things. So something told me to stop and go look at what I sent. So I went, then I realized, oh my God, this company's in Finland. Oh, I need to probably send something to them. Then I thought to myself, they'll see this coming from the States, won't care one bit. So I went on doing what I'm doing. About 15 minutes later, they sent me a response. Yeah, we would love to do it. And I thought to myself, I know not a damn thing about what's going on over there. Then I was like, that's good. That's good. Mm-hmm. That gives not only me, but my audience a different country to learn about wrestling over there. And then it snowballed. I'm like, well, I got 1. Oh, wow, I got 2. I got 3. And they're in different you know what? Screw it. I'm trying to get every country I can to talk about wrestling.
Was it Fight Club Finland by chance?
Say again?
Was it a company called Fight Club Finland? FCF?
No.
Okay. That's the only one I could think of like immediately offhand that was in.
But I think I did send a message to them. I think I did. But then it's like, oh, wow. Then I got to thinking, wow, wrestling is worldwide. Mm-hmm. It's really worldwide. And I'm not, I think I'm an intelligent person. And of course, you got New Japan, you have over in Europe and all these, but I guess it didn't really hit me to think, wow, this is worldwide, and I have a platform that can reach worldwide. So I'm talking to, like I did get a chance to talk to a company in New Zealand, and he was telling me what's going on and how wrestling runs there. Then I talked to a promotion in Africa. They were telling me they're they are vastly different from the United States, but similar. Now, the African one, they were telling me that they are, as they put it, they're like 500 years behind in wrestling.
Okay.
Right. And but I got what they were saying, that they always behind the US and Japan and everybody, because when you say wrestling there, the only wrestling that they are basically used to is WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to explain, no, we're pro wrestling. We're, yeah, some a little bit like WWE, but it's different. So my whole point to this is learning that people have different styles, different places, different styles of wrestling. Like you said, you can have your death match, your old school wrestling, your 16 super kicks, and that's just in 2 minutes of the match. So one thing I'd love to let people understand, that wrestling, yes, wrestling is worldwide, but there's so many different flavors to it that sometimes you have to do research to realize what is your particular flavor. And you have to do research of where you can find it at. One of the best things I think of in today's wrestling, that we're so blessed, if we want to watch something in Africa or Japan or England or wherever, we have the means to do it without having to go overseas. We can watch, we can do so many different things. And I think it's a great time to be in wrestling, and love the fact that everyone is trying to elevate it even more.
I remember, I can't remember where I was flying to, but saw this article about I just had to look this up because I was like, I'm going to mess up the name. The Flying Cholitas. It's a women's wrestling in Bolivia, where they're like in full traditional like dress, like petticoat style dresses wrestling.
Oh wow!
I'm like, visually, I'm like, this looks so different than anything I would ever think of in pro wrestling. There's lucha libre promotions that are popping up everywhere in the US.
Oh my God.
And even that has a different branch of wrestling, different than lucha libre you're going to see in Mexico. There's some similarities, but some differences too.
Yes.
British traditional wrestling. Oh my God. My heart. That's I mean, technical wrestling is my jam. Like, love it. And I've watched, I was working for this company during the pandemic, and he got a guy to do commentary and post he was British, but he was living in Russia. And I was like, okay, let me hear some of his work, and found him doing commentary for Russian death matches. I'm like, this is everywhere. like there's so much diversity in the sport, in the styles, in the personalities, in the quality, in the fan bases. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing to see.
I love it. I love that. Again, sometimes I get to that I burn myself out stage, and generally when I burn myself out, it's maybe, I think the longest I've went without looking at anything wrestling related was probably 4 days. And on that 4th day, I had to fight. I was fighting myself. And then the 5th day, I'm like, screw it, I'm okay. I'm back. I can do it. And it's one of those things that is so much out there. And then I get blessed to talk to so many different people. Mm-hmm. And then I'm talking to these promoters in different places. And I'm like, man, I really want to see their stuff. but geez, I got to figure out a time where I can squeeze them into this. I got this interview. I got this. Oh, damn, I'm married. I got to spend time with my wife. Oh, so, but it is such for me, like I try to say, my opinion, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, and you can do the research yourself, or you can get on different streaming apps who do. I was more surprised on how many apps there are with just wrestling. It blew my mind when I started this with the owner of WSN, and his dream was to be able to have wrestling 24/7 and different styles of wrestling, different things. Like our app, we got wrestling cartoons. We have movies starring wrestlers. We have the documentaries, of course. We got the bios. We have music. We have wrestling comedy. So it's so much out there. It's like, okay, now I have to take the time to find and talk to these people and this and that. But in the end, for us, it's so worth it because we are able to give more fans more access without having to want to go to Google's headquarters and slap somebody around. And again, I think that's what for me is really great. I love having conversation with you because not only are you funny, you're educating not only me but the fans on the other side of the business. And for me, that gives me more appreciation for everybody who works their tail off to make this sport possible so I can forget about my life for a couple of hours.
Exactly. It's at the heart of it. I mean, any athletic event you go to, it's entertainment. Like you're looking for that. You're looking for the escape. You're looking for the joy. You're looking for whatever it is, an emotional release, like
right,
an opportunity because it's been freezing. You just need to get out of the house. like, okay, enjoy it. Like go and have fun, engage. Like great. At the heart of it, that's all it is. like forget about what's going on for a couple of hours.
To be able to get together with friends to complain how dumb this is, but we won't miss an episode.
Right. And we need more.
This is all they doing. Oh God, there's so. And then it's like, oh man, they're oversaturating the market. I can't, man. They got 18 shows. Right. Let them cancel one. Oh no, how are they going to do this to us? How dare they?
Right. How dare there be wrestling every day of the week?
Oh my goodness. And it's so funny that at one point I thought, okay, I'm trying to be a serious podcaster. I'm gonna look at certain wrestling and be able to talk and be knowledgeable on that. Yeah, that lasted like maybe a day. It's like, okay, I'm gonna watch. Well, dang, this is good. Well, dang, this is good. Man, I can't watch all of this. And oh man, I got to think on this. So it's it's a smorgasbord of entertainment that you have to find what's right for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like anything else, with the good, there are the bad. And we hear people complain, dislike, dare I say, hate things. But it took me a while to realize, as people are giving their opinions of any type of thing, to realize it's just an opinion. I think sometimes we get caught up into the words that come out of people's mouth that we just go stupid ballistic. Lord forbid Jim Cornette comes on and say, I don't know, because Jim can say so many different things. But Jim says something and everybody loses their mind. I tell you recently, I lost my mind on Vince Russo. If I saw Vince Russo before I actually calmed down and actually realized what I was doing, I would have punched him straight in the face. Not a hey, I like you, anything else. I'm going to punch you in the face. But after a while and thinking about it, it's like, Vince has his own. What makes my opinion better than his? What makes his better than mine? It's just an opinion. If I don't agree with it, I don't have to follow him. I don't have to listen to him. Mm-hmm. And I have to realize that. And I had saw my buddy did a podcast with him. After listening to that conversation, it really got me to think, he's just a man with an opinion, and he's lucky enough to book shows and people want to hear his opinions. He's going to say stuff off the wall because he's trying to draw people in. He got me, and I laughed about it, thought about it, and now my goal is to actually have a podcast with him so I could explain why I was mad and still think he was wrong, but understand, okay, I understand what you were doing, but you have to be careful with that, especially in this day and age. You can be the villain, but people really think you're the villain. You're putting yourself in a bad situation. Mm-hmm. I would just ask you to be careful. With all that blubbering I just did for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, what is your thought on wrestling today?
Well, I think we talked about it. It's so diverse. There is good, there's bad. There's technical wrestling, deathmatch wrestling, there's high-flying wrestling, there's power wrestling. And I think the diversity of the styles within the sport is so much different than what it was on mainstream wrestling even 15 years ago. We're seeing more, how do I word this? The efforts that WWE made previously with cruiserweights didn't trigger the same way that it did when WCW was featuring cruiserweights.
Right.
Because it's like WWE looks at it, and when I say this is not a criticism, this is not a wrong, it's just their style. Their focus, it's the big men, it's the monsters, it's those guys that are ruling the roost. Okay, that's fine. More power wrestling, great. But now there's this deeper appreciation for the allotment and the array of styles. Chad Gable getting over with this crowd in a very solid way is amazing to see, because I don't think 15 years ago it really would have worked. Right. I think of a Shelton Benjamin at that time frame who was getting over and fans liked him, but I was like, there's so much that Shelton can do and you're not really just getting him there. Like, and I feel like if you had a Shelton today at where he was 15 years ago, oh my God,
he would be headlining,
and he's still good. like it's not that he's bad now or anything. He's still athletic and amazing.
Probably the funniest thing that I told somebody is I never realized on how big Shelton Benjamin really was until a friend of mine got to go to a Christmas party at Keith Lee and his wife's house, and Shelton was there, and he took a picture with Shelton, and I was like, oh, dude, that can't be Shelton Benjamin. He's dwarfing you.
Yeah.
And then seeing them in AEW, I'm like, good. How did WWE make him seem so small? It was just amazing to me.
At conversely, I remember the first time I met Mick Foley, and I was like, "You're a friggin' giant, man!" Like I was like, on television, I never had that vision of like, he's a sizable gentleman. And congratulations to him, he's lost a whole bunch of weight. But like he's tall. And it was like until I saw him in person, it's like, oh yeah, they'd always build him as 6'3", 6'4", and he is.
And I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, so every blue moon, you may run into the mayor of Knox County.
Yeah,
and it's when Toys R Us was still around. I happened to be working there. And we just opened. It was a Tuesday. I never forget this day. I'm standing in the electronics area. That's my area. And I'm just standing there. I'm bored. We just opened. And I noticed somebody, the entrance was on the other side of the building. But I noticed this guy, he walks in. And I thought, oh, wow, that guy's tall. If I can notice him from way over here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Then he kept getting closer, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, he's bald, and for whatever reason in my head it's like, you don't see too many bald white guys. Then he got close. I know you are. So he got closer, and I'm like, this guy is big. He got a little bit closer, and I'm like, holy crap, that's Kane. So he comes in, and he's looking something for his daughter. I help him find it. I ring him up. I didn't fanboy him. I didn't do any of that.
Right.
So the other thought I had right before he got there is like, holy crap, I'm almost as big as Kane. Damn, that's why people look at me so strange sometimes. Because again, when you are dealing with yourself, you don't realize how you are to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 6'4". I'm 6'4", solid 300. So to me, I'm just me. And when other people see me, they're like, "Oh wow, you're a big boy." I'm like, "No, I'm not." Yes, I am. So when I saw that comparison to being Kane, I was like, "Wow, I could probably." And my only me could think this. I could probably take Kane. I could probably take him. Now, of course, no, but it didn't stop me from thinking.
Oh gosh,
but like you said, until you see somebody and get to meet them, it's like, wow, man, wow, this is crazy. And this met one of my idols that I love to death, Jay Lethal. Got to meet him. And me and him was standing talking. He was very pleasant. And the only thing in my mind, damn, you're small. I wouldn't look, I ain't trying to piss you off, but damn, you're small. Again, it's that when you recognize, because TV, when you get to recognize people and like, oh wow.
So that I had a weekend. It was years ago. I will say Mr. Jacobs was mayor, but he was still doing meet and greets, and so MCW had brought him in for a meet and greet. And the day before, I was in Iowa for Revolver. I flew home so I could go to MCW in Maryland, but I was wiped. I was so tired. And so in our locker room area in Joppa, there's a recliner. So I at one point I'm in the recliner and I'm just leaned back, and I'm just and one of the wrestlers used to have this little like tiny little dog, and I oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the dog. I used to love that dog. And the dog was just like resting on my lap, and I'm slowly nodding off. And like my eyes are closed, about to fall asleep, and all I felt was this there was a presence next to me. And I open up my eyes, and here's Glenn Jacobs. Hi. He's like, "Can I pet your dog?" I was like, I don't, yeah. I'm half asleep. I'm like, what's happening? And literally, I think the first words out of my mouth were, it's not my dog. But sure. And I've been around Jay Lethal for a long time, but I think I was on an event, and Jay Lethal, Mr. Machismo, so he was still doing the Macho Man, had a match against the Genius.
Oh, wow.
Macho Man's brother.
I remember seeing that match.
And in that match, Jay Lethal's dad is sitting in the crowd, and so they fight, and Lethal's in the ring, or no, they had fought through the crowd, and they're getting near Lethal's dad, but Genius knocks down Lethal, and then Genius goes over, just starts walking in that direction, and you hear Lethal in full Macho Man, leave our dad alone. And I was like, this is great. This is the greatest moment. Oh geez.
It is so amazing how funny people are, and at the weirdest time they do stuff. Oh my God, I can sit here and tell you some stories of me running into wrestlers and probably, to me, this is my best, funniest story ever. The time I got to meet Jim Cornette in the Midnight Express.
Okay.
It was me and my buddies went to an NWA convention in Charlotte. And the way they had everybody set up, it was a stage, and they had the tables on the stage, and you could get the autographs and you would move down. So on one side was Rock and Roll Express. So we're just going down the line. We get to the Midnight Express. Talked to Jim, which was funny because the night before, Jim was in Knoxville at a promotion, and I was there and got to see him and talk to him there. So we talked, moved down. It's Dennis Condrey was next. Talk to him. Thank you. Get to Bobby. Thank you. Y'all great. Loved y'all. I loved it. I hated y'all. Bobby's like, hey, thank you. Blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I get my whatever I had signed. I'll walk. I take 3 steps and I spin around like, holy shit, you speak. Jim Cornette was just drinking a Coke and spit it out everywhere. The look that Bobby gave me sent chills down my spine. But he started laughing. And okay, that would have been a great story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. The next day, me and my buddy are trying to find an ATM machine. We're walking around and we're looking all over the place. So I guess we decided we're going to leave the building and go to this other building next door. And before we could get to the door, I heard, oh, I've been looking for you. And I didn't think anything about it, really. And then I turn around and it's Bobby. When I tell you the look he had on his face, in my head, I'm like, do I try to run? What the hell should I do? And I'm just frozen there. And my buddy's standing beside me and he's getting closer. And I'm like, I can't beat him. Ain't no way in the hell I can beat him. Look, no, there's just no way. I'm bigger than him, but he's a legitimate athlete. He's gonna tear me a new one. Then I'm thinking, man, my buddy better jump in here. He better not let me get beat up. He better not let me get beat up. Bobby got to me and he hugged me and started laughing. I'm like, don't do that. You're gonna kill me. You almost gave me a heart attack. And just stuff like that. That's why I love going to shows, and I've been very blessed to meet wrestlers, and they know me and know my work, and I get to enjoy stuff like that so much.
Afa, the Wild Samoan, used to run a company in Pennsylvania called WXW, World Extreme Wrestling. And it's I feel like intermission was about to end, but these guys were walking out into the crowd for some reason. There's this guy named Jersey Devil, and he walks out, and somebody's like, "Hey, Devil, how you doing?" Like, okay, that's odd. Out walks Kamala. "Hey, Kamala, how you doing?" "Spiffy day, what?" I was like, what just happened?
Oh, it's priceless.
WXW was a lot of fun in its day. But Batista, right after he got into Evolution, did a WXW show. He didn't wrestle on it. He just was there really to say hi. And there was an issue in Pennsylvania. You have to have a doctor at events, and the doctor hadn't showed up yet, so they were trying to kill time. So Batista offered to go out and do a promo. Batista is now a great actor. Like, we love watching him on the screen. He was not a great promo guy at that time. I used to do this horrible impression of it. My name is Batista, and I used to train here at the Wild Samoan training center, and I love being here, and I love Pops and thank you all for being here, and man, I hate talking on this thing. Drop the mic. Walk out. It's like, okay. Okay.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Dave, wherever you're at. Speaking of people who could probably crush me.
Oh my God. It is just amazing when you meet people and you think you have a thought about their certain way, and then they totally are not. It is hilarious to me. Oh, so I definitely want to thank you for not only just doing my show, but just being you, for all the knowledge that you bring to the industry, for everything you're doing to keep it better than you found it, for helping the young guys learn, for helping people learn what they're doing wrong, what they could do better, making people threaten you, chase you around, stuff like that.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. But honestly, I truly want to genuinely thank you so much. I'm a big firm believer in giving people flowers. And I've been trying to come up with a different saying, because I do this every show, and now it feels like I'm so just doing it so, like, not with any emotion, but I do have emotions. It's just the way I think about it. We definitely appreciate you, and thank you so much for everything you're doing to keep the sport that we all love alive.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
If I got to have this last question, and I'm gonna tell you why I asked you this. If you had the opportunity to start your own promotion, what would be some of the first things you would do?
So Cue Ball told me this. This is Cue Ball Carmichael when I first started doing stuff. He said that Paul Heyman, and by this time ECW was a thing, that Paul Heyman told him once, you need an army of volunteers, and that he could never find enough volunteers or enough people to be in his army. And I think that's so true. I think so. I think some of it is I have to find the people around me who would help, that I could trust to help. I mean, I think I have the marketing side of my brain down. I think I have that stuff down. You need people because you can't be the only person. You can't sell the tickets and run the music and run the show, and then you have to have more people to help you.
So I've been trying to ask that question, and I had Bull Buchanan on recently, and I asked him this question. As straight faced as Bull Buchanan is, he looked at me and said, I wouldn't. Something's got to be wrong with you. So I of course, and he's like, no, you just have to have passion and everything. Yeah. So just so happened, forgive me because all of this runs together for me. The next person I had on, we were talking, and I asked the same question. They're like, don't. And then they were like, unless you just have money you want to lose, don't.
Well, hopefully don't lose. Like that's
and I got what they were saying, and just like Bull said, it's like you're good. Don't, if you come in this trying to expect returns right away, you're gonna be sad. You're gonna have to understand this gonna be a loss, and it's gonna take a while before you start really generating money. But then I'm getting the same, pretty much the same answer from everybody. I'm like, Jesus, I was really thinking about it, but now I don't want any part of it.
I will say I have thought about it a lot. I want to be very honest, because I'm that level of insane. But I want to be smart about it. Like, I live in Maryland. I work for MCW, which honestly runs the state. Like they're everywhere in Maryland. I can't run against MCW.
Right.
Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, DC, and Delaware require some kind of licensing, which is a whole other level of bureaucratic nonsense, and insane, and its own brand of insanity. So it's like, where do I want to go? Where is there not a thing already that would have enough of a population to make it interesting that people would come out for, that wouldn't cost me an arm and a leg just to get the building? So there's a whole lot of things. I get lost in a little bit of the what is the phrase? Analysis paralysis. Like, oh my gosh, there's all these things. Oh my gosh. I know I get stuck there sometimes. But it's all true. Like, and really if you're going into an event as a promoter and you're like, this will pay for itself the first time running, you don't have any proof that it's going to work out at all. You better have a little pocket extra that you weren't counting for in case things go south. I have been at events where, we weren't expecting 8 inches of snow in Philadelphia randomly, not forecasted to happen. Okay. I've been there. Randomly this weekend, I was at an event. Fortunately, we were in the event, and this thing starts coming out. Winter squall warning. I've never heard that phrase in my life. What is a winter squall warning? It's a few years ago, I went through a derecho, so it's the only comparison I can think of, which is like, it's a band of storms that are like really condensed and they move really fast in a particular direction. And so it was a high wind warning, blustery, powdery snow that would suddenly come down. And so it was like within 45 minutes, 1.5 inches of snow fell. Oh. And it was all really powdery snow. And the wind, it was like 65-mile-per-hour winds. And so it's all like whiteout conditions. We're inside. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Like, what is a winter squall? Like, what is that? I don't. And it was like shelter in place. What? Like that's when we were all like, what do you mean shelter in place? You never, long story short, you never know what to expect. So you kind of have to prepare for everything, which financially includes you better be able to pay for that show if nobody shows up.
Yep. And again, it's one of those. I honestly, if I had a chance, just to, I would love to see if I could book a coherent show. That would be at this point in my life, that would be my ultimate dream. If I could book a show, it was good, and the next show people are in the place bit more than before, then I would consider that a win.
Yeah. Growth is growth.
Yeah.
Don't expect that it's the same people
Right.
that were there last time. I mean, there'll be some carryover, but that's part of it too. Is if you're seeing growth, that means you're seeing new people who don't know what's going on. Is this understandable for people who've never seen this before?
Exactly. Again, my friend, I thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate every time you come on, because again, you are not only just knowledgeable, you're funny as hell, and I'm always knowing that I'm gonna have a great time with you. So again, thank you so very much.
I appreciate you, and for those who are watching, especially live, we had to reschedule this because I'm a dummy, and I said yes, and then I forgot I had an event, and it was like I think the night before, and I'm like, I am so sorry. I just totally was like, oh, the podcast is happening. Oh, I have a wrestling event this night, and just didn't. just didn't put it together.
It is okay. I would say this. If nothing else that I have learned doing this and trying to be professional as possible, that I possibly can, I realize that, like wrestling, you got to be ready for anything. And again, with someone like yourself, I know if you're not coming on, you have a damn good reason, and we're going to make time for you. It's never a problem.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Guys, girls, thank you so much for joining me around the campfire once again. I hope that you are understanding how much that goes into the sport we love, how much people just honestly bust their ass and do so much to give us enjoyment for a few hours. It is amazing. And I always say, try to be very appreciative of those people and let them know how much you appreciate them. You would be very, very, very surprised on how much they appreciate that and love you for that. And as I always love to do before I get off of my podcast, please, please, please go support your local indie wrestling. I tell you that you will get a different experience than going to the bigger companies. I'm not saying better. I'm not saying worse. What I am saying is you'll get an experience that I believe that will last a lifetime, especially if you bring your young kids. They will love it. And on top of that, as adults, you can walk in with money and you can actually walk out with money. It's an amazing concept, especially nowadays. So with that being said, I am Professor Burr. This has been a Burr's Thought, and we will see you around the campfire very, very soon. Y'all take care.